Hey guys, here's a video on my custom Phantom build. So after owning the Phantom for a long time, it's a great quadcopter, but I know eventually I'm gonna want to mod it and upgrade it. And after I sold my Phantom, a few months later I decided to actually rebuild and actually make my own Phantom out of just different electronics. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because, why buy a ready-to-fly Phantom and it later on end up tearing everything apart just to switch out motors, radios, and add on the gimbals and stuff like that. So I decided just to buy the body only and buy the electronics separately according to what I want my Phantom to be. So first off, what you're gonna need is the Phantom body right over here. The body's only about 50 bucks, so it's a pretty good deal, for the whole shell, but you still need your own electronics, motors, propellers, and legs. So make sure you plan it all out if you want to build your own custom DJI Phantom. So the body does come with different type of screws, but it doesn't really come with all the screws needed. The light covers right here, the little plastic that covers the LED lights on the speed controls, they're missing screws, and they only come with the DJI speed controls. So, and you're also missing another screw at the very tip, which I'm not going to really go into too much detail because I'm pretty sure if you guys have a Phantom, you guys already know how everything is all laid out. And I see I have a little leg set right over here. I did order the Simon Says foldable leg set, but somehow it got delivered to my work and it got lost. So I ended up buying the stock replacement landing gears just to get me going during the meantime, because it takes like half a month just to get that 3D printed leg set from Shapeways. So back on topic, for the radios I'll be using a JR or a Futaba. So I have both of these radios laying around. I love both of them. They're both very good radios. I kind of prefer the Futaba more just because the 8FG gives you all types of channels and switch assignability, so I can pretty much move everything on any dial I want, and also have dials to make remote gains to adjust gains in flight. And the 11X has levers on the side, they have flips and also trims, so I can do all types of cool stuff. So both of these radios are going to be more than enough, so I'm still debating which radio to use. The flight controller I'm using here is the NASA V2. Now I could have bought the NASA Lite or the NASA V1 for much cheaper, but for the Phantom I'm planning to use the DJI Zenmuse camera. So I factor in the cost. If I get the V1 and then I buy the upgraded PMU, it's going to be about the same price as the V2, so I just bought the V2 just to get everything out of the way. And also for the camera gimbal system, I'm using the DJI Zenmuse H3 2D. That's DJI's newest GoPro camera stabilizer, which has a lot of rave on there, so I can't wait to use it. And that's the reason why I bought the V2, because you need the V2 firmware and you also need the PMU to actually power and communicate between the two, and you need the CAN bus. And for the speed controls, I'm using the stock DJI Phantom speed controls. You can see here. The only reason why I chose to use the stock DJI Phantom speed controls is because the Phantom body doesn't have a lot of space inside, and I couldn't really find any compact 20 amp or 30 amp speed controls, and the Phantom I believe they're 18 amp speed controls, and they fit exactly in there without any modifications or any cutting to the frame. I probably could have got some 20 amps to fit if I would have mounted the ESCs more towards the center of the frame, but after I factor in my electronic placements, it's going to be too crowded in the middle, so I just used the stock DJI Phantom speed controls. And I have here is the DJI IOSD. Now the reason why I got this IOSD is I hope it fits inside, fingers crossed it will fit, but the reason why I got it is because you can switch between camera 1 and camera 2. Now why do I want this feature? So with my DJI Phantom, I'm not planning to do any sport flying. I just want to do some kind of not really pro level, but kind of like hobby enthusiasts, just to record videos and shoot a few pictures here and there with the GoPro. So I'm gonna have two cameras set up on my Phantom. I'm gonna use the Fat Shark camera that's gonna be mounted directly onto the frame of the Phantom, so I can pretty much get that sense of flight when I'm flying to where I gotta fly, because I'm doing FPV. And I can switch to camera number 2, which would be the GoPro, to get the framing of the shot, and when I have to fly somewhere else, I just switch back to camera 1 and I can actually see, because if you try to fly FPV with a camera stabilized, or a stabilized camera, it's not going to roll like this as you're flying it, so you won't get that sense of flight, and it just makes it a little bit harder, but you can do it. But I like having 2 cameras set up. It's, you know, it's going to be a little bit on the heavy side, but the reason why I like the Phantom is because it's compact, it's small, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's not as dangerous as getting a much bigger, you know, hexacopter or an octocopter just to get the same kind of shots. For the motors I'm using here is the Sunny Sky motors. The reason why I use Sunny Sky is because they're very similar to the T motors. They use, you know, good quality bearings, and they're balanced out of the box, so it's not going to be, you know, any kind of low grade motors. Good motors. These are the 2212 with the 980 kV. One tip, you guys might want to stick with the 22 stator, because any stator size bigger than a 22, the motor's not going to fit in between the hole of the motor mount, so you might have a hard time. And to me, the 2212 size stator is going to be perfect. You could go with a 2216 if you want, but for the Phantom, the most you can swing is a 9-inch propeller, and there's really no need for a 2216, because a 2216 will swing about a 10 to 12-inch propeller, so these are going to be more than enough for the DJI Phantom. I have a little power distribution board, which I'm going to solder all of the ESCs, the PMU, and also the Zenmus. Everything's going to go directly to this board, so it'll be a lot cleaner without having to make a custom, you know, wire harness to solder everything on there. GoPro 3 Black Edition, of course, it'll be out of the case, but I have it in the case just because, you know, when I travel or put it anywhere, it's not going to get scratched my GoPro. So, and for my FPV setup, I'm using here is the Fat Shark Attitude goggles. You can see here, Attitude goggles with adjustable PIDs for different, you know, head sizes. For some reason I have wide eyes, so the lens, I have to move it. You can see I can move it to get that, you know, adjustment to make everything all nice and clear when I'm flying it. And I'll be using the Fat Shark 600 milliwatt video transmitter. I also have a 250 milliwatt, which I might use to mount inside, but I think a 600 would be better for what I plan on doing, because in California, you know, to get that nice scenic shots, it's going to be a lot of trees, a lot of obstacles around, and you want the most power as possible to get you know, video around those footage. But a 250 milliwatt should work just fine. So yeah, this is just part 1 of my custom DJI Phantom build. Hope you guys enjoyed this kind of boring video. I know this video is not anything interesting, but if you guys are interested in using or making your own DJI Phantom in the future, this is what I'm using, and you guys can, you know, pretty much see what I'm using, and stay tuned for the next videos, which I'll be actually, I'm not going to do a build video because it's just too long and boring, and you guys don't really want to do it, because it's why nobody, I don't think you guys even care about a build video. So stay tuned guys for the next video, which I'll have everything assembled and ready to go. And I'll probably make one more video with the shell off to show you guys if the IOSD, the Zenmus, and all the PMU stuff from the Naza V2 will actually fit inside the shell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, guys. Once again, thanks for watching, guys.